Ilara woke before the first hint of dawn, the chill of the unheated apartment a familiar, biting greeting. It wasn't just the cold that seeped into her bones, it was the gnawing anxiety that had become her constant companion. A heavy blanket woven from mounting bills, Lily's persistent cough, and the relentless, unforgiving scarcity that defined her existence. Every breath she drew felt like a conscious effort against a tide of despair, yet every morning she chose to push back, to rise, to face the day not with resignation, but with a fierce, unwavering determination born of a mother's love. The thin blanket offered little solace against the pre-dawn frost that clung to the window panes, etching delicate, icy patterns that mirrored the intricate web of worries in Ilara's mind. She lay still for a moment, listening to the soft, even breaths of her daughter, Lily, sleeping soundly beside her. Lily, with her unruly auburn curls and the scattering of freckles across her nose, was the sun in Ilara's perpetually cloudy sky. The reason she found the strength to untangle herself from the meager warmth of their shared bed and step into the frigid air of their small, worn apartment. The old floorboards groaned a protest as Ilara carefully swung her legs over the side of the bed, her bare feet meeting the unforgiving cold of the linoleum. She shivered, pulling her threadbare bathrobe tighter around her, its once vibrant floral pattern faded and frayed from countless washes. The quiet of the apartment was only punctuated by the distant hum of the city beginning to stir, a symphony of unseen lives unfolding, each with their own battles and triumphs. For Ilara, the silence of their home was often a mixed blessing. It offered a momentary reprieve from the cacophony of worry, but it also amplified the quiet desperation that often whispered at the edges of her thoughts. She moved with a practiced, almost ritualistic efficiency, her movements economical and precise. The small kitchen, barely more than a nook, was her first destination. A single, flickering, fluorescent light sputtered to life, casting long, dancing shadows that made the familiar space seem alien and vast. The worn countertop held a few precious provisions, a half-empty bag of cheap coffee, a loaf of stale bread, and a carton of milk that was nearing its expiration. This was their arsenal against the hunger that threatened to consume them, a meager but fiercely guarded treasure. Ilara filled a chipped ceramic mug with water and placed it on the single working burner of their ancient stove, the gas hissing softly as it ignited. While the water slowly warmed, she began to prepare Lily's breakfast, a slice of toast if they were lucky, or perhaps a bowl of instant oatmeal if the budget allowed. Today, it would be toast, dry and unbuttered, but a source of warmth and energy for her little girl. Lily, bless her heart, never complained. She understood, in a way that belied her tender years, the delicate balance of their existence, the constant tightrope walk between having just enough and having nothing. As the scent of warming water began to fill the tiny kitchen, Ilara's mind drifted to the day ahead. It was a crucial day. She had a job interview, a glimmer of hope in the otherwise bleak landscape of her unemployment. It wasn't a high-paying job, just a part-time cleaning position at a local diner. But it was work, and work meant money, and money meant food, medicine for Lily, and a slight easing of the suffocating pressure that seemed to squeeze the air from her lungs. She had meticulously ironed her best and only blouse the night before, pressing out every wrinkle with a determination that bordered on ferocity. She wanted to appear capable, dependable, someone worthy of a chance. But the job interview wasn't her only concern. Lily had a doctor's appointment later that afternoon, a follow-up for her persistent cough. The doctor had been vague, mentioning a possibility of recurring bronchitis, and Ilara's heart clenched at the thought. The cost of the visit, the potential prescriptions, the endless cycle of medical expenses, it was a burden that often felt too heavy to bear. She had managed to save a small amount, a paltry sum tucked away in a worn leather wallet, just enough for the bus fare to the clinic and perhaps a small portion of Lily's medicine. It was her last money, the very last coins and crumpled bills she possessed, and she guarded it with the ferocity of a lioness protecting her cub. A soft rustle from the bedroom signaled Lily's awakening. Alara's heart, though heavy with worry, swelled with a familiar tenderness. She quickly poured the hot water into a mug, adding the instant coffee grounds, and took a deep, fortifying breath. It was time to face the day, to put on her brave face, to be the strong, unwavering pillar her daughter needed her to be.
"Good morning, my little sunshine," Alara said, her voice a soft melody, as she gently nudged Lily awake. Lily blinked, her large, expressive eyes slowly focusing on her mother's face, a sleepy smile gracing her lips. "Time to get up, sweet pea. We have a big day ahead." Lily stretched like a small cat, her tiny hands reaching for Alara. "Mommy, I'm cold," she murmured, her voice still thick with sleep. "I know, darling," Alara replied, pulling the blanket tighter around Lily before scooping her up into a warm embrace. She carried Lily to the kitchen, the familiar weight of her daughter a comforting presence against her chest. Lily rubbed her eyes, then looked at the steaming mug of coffee in Alara's hand. "Can I have some milk?" "Of course, sweetheart," Alara said, pouring a small amount of milk into a plastic cup. She watched as Lily sipped it, her small face lighting up with a simple pleasure that Alara envied. It was these small moments of joy, these fleeting glimpses of her daughter's happiness that sustained Alara, fueling her resolve to keep fighting, to keep hoping. After a quick breakfast of dry toast and milk, Alara helped Lily get dressed. The clothes were hand-me-downs, well worn but clean, a testament to Alara's meticulous care. Lily's cough, though not severe, was still present, a persistent tickle that made Alara's heart ache with a mother's helplessness. She longed to wrap Lily in a bubble of warmth and health, to shield her from the harsh realities of their world, but all she could offer was her unwavering love and her relentless pursuit of a better life for them both. As they prepared to leave, Alara checked her worn leather wallet one last time. The few bills and coins felt pitifully small against the vastness of their needs. She had exactly $23. $20 for the bus fare to the clinic and back, and $3 for a portion of Lily's cough medicine. It was a tight squeeze, a calculation made with a precision born of desperation. No room for error, no room for unexpected expenses, no room for anything but the bare essentials. She tucked the wallet deep into her coat pocket, the worn leather a reassuring yet terrifying presence against her hip. The walk to the bus stop was brisk, the winter air sharp and unforgiving. Alara pulled Lily's hat down lower, ensuring her ears were covered, and tightened the scarf around her own neck, wishing it were thicker, warmer. The city was now fully awake, a bustling tapestry of hurried footsteps, blaring horns, and the distant rumble of trains. People rushed past them, bundled in expensive coats, their faces set with purpose, seemingly oblivious to the quiet struggle unfolding beside them. Alara felt invisible, a ghost in the vibrant, indifferent metropolis. They reached the bus stop, a small, dilapidated shelter that offered little protection from the biting wind. A few other people were already waiting, their faces etched with the familiar weariness of those navigating life's daily grind. Alara kept Lily close, holding her hand tightly, their fingers intertwined, a silent pact of solidarity against the cold, hard world. It was then that she saw him. He was slumped against the cold brick wall of an abandoned storefront across the street, his clothes disheveled and dirty, a tattered blanket pulled haphazardly around his thin frame. His face, obscured by a thick, unkempt beard, was smudged with dirt, and his eyes, when they occasionally flickered open, held a vacant, hollow look that spoke of profound exhaustion and hunger. He held a small, crumpled cardboard sign, handwritten in shaky, almost illegible letters. Lost everything. Hungry. Any help appreciated. Ilara's gaze lingered on him for a moment, a pang of empathy echoing in her chest. She knew that look, that desperate plea hidden beneath a mask of shame. It was a look she had seen in the mirror herself on her darkest days, a reflection of the crushing weight of destitution. Her heart ached for him, for the invisible burdens he carried, for the silent battles he fought. But then, a sharp, cold jab of reality pierced through her compassion. She had her own battles, her own desperate needs. Lily's medicine, the job interview, the bus fare, these were her priorities, her lifeline. She couldn't afford to be generous, not today, not when every single dollar was already accounted for, every penny earmarked for survival. She averted her gaze, forcing herself to look away, to focus on the approaching bus, to suppress the insistent whisper of her conscience. The bus arrived, a noisy, diesel-fueled behemoth, its brakes hissing as it pulled to a stop. Ilara ushered Lily onto the bus, her hand still clasped firmly in her daughter's. As she reached into her pocket for her wallet, her eyes inadvertently flickered back to the man across the street. He was still there, a solitary figure against the backdrop of the indifferent city, his head now bowed, seemingly defeated. A wave of profound sadness washed over Ilara, a sense of shared humanity that transcended her own immediate needs.
Her fingers closed around the worn leather of her wallet, the $23 inside feeling like a monumental fortune, yet simultaneously so incredibly insignificant in the face of so much suffering. A fierce internal debate raged within her. Logic screamed at her to keep the money, to prioritize Lily, to secure their own precarious future. But her heart, that stubborn, compassionate organ, whispered a different truth. A truth born of her own struggles, her own understanding of what it felt like to be utterly alone, utterly forgotten. She thought of Lily's cough, of the doctor's appointment, of the potential medicine. She thought of her job interview, the glimmer of hope it represented. And then she thought of the man across the street, shivering in the cold, his sign a silent cry for help. What if that were her? What if that were Lily? The thought was a cold, sharp blade to her heart. A decision, swift and resolute, bloomed in her chest. It wasn't a logical decision, not by any conventional standard. It was a human one, an act of pure, unadulterated empathy. "Mommy, what's wrong?" Lily asked, her small voice tinged with concern as she noticed the troubled expression on Ilara's face. Ilara knelt, meeting Lily's gaze. "Nothing, sweet pea. I need to do something quickly. You stay right here, okay? Promise me you won't move." Lily nodded, her eyes wide with curiosity. Ilara rose, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs. She fumbled in her pocket, pulling out the worn wallet. Her fingers trembled slightly as she extracted a $20 bill, the largest denomination she possessed. It was the money for the bus fare, for the doctor's visit, for Lily's medicine. It was everything. With a deep breath, she stepped off the bus, ignoring the curious glances of the other passengers, the driver's impatient sigh. The cold air hit her face with renewed intensity, but she barely noticed. Her gaze was fixed on the man across the street, her resolve hardening with every step. She crossed the street, the sound of her own footsteps amplified in the sudden quiet of her focus. The man looked up as she approached, his eyes, previously dull and listless, now holding a flicker of surprise, perhaps even fear. He seemed to shrink further into himself, as if expecting rebuke or dismissal. Ilara stopped a few feet from him, her voice soft but firm. "Excuse me," she began, her hand extended, the $20 bill clutched tightly in her fingers. The man stared at the money, then at Ilara's face, a look of profound disbelief slowly dawning in his eyes. He didn't reach for it. "Please," Ilara urged again, her voice cracking slightly. "I know what it's like to be hungry, to be cold, to feel like no one cares. This is all I have right now, but
I hope it helps you get something warm to eat." She pushed the bill gently into his hesitant hand, her fingers brushing against his cold, rough skin. He clutched the money as if it were spun gold, his eyes still wide with astonishment. "But you," he stammered, his voice raspy, unused, "you don't look like you have much yourself." Ilara offered a weak but genuine smile. "We all have our struggles," she said, her gaze drifting back to the bus where Lily was patiently waiting. "But sometimes helping someone else is the only way to keep your own light burning." She paused, a shadow of her own desperation crossing her face. "I have a daughter who's not well. I needed this for her medicine and our bus fare, but you look like you need it more right now. We'll figure something out." The man's eyes, previously clouded with despair, now held a strange, unreadable intensity. He looked at the $20 bill in his hand, then back at Ilara, a profound silence hanging between them. It was a silence filled with unspoken stories, with the weight of human suffering and the unexpected beauty of human kindness. "Thank you," he finally managed to whisper, his voice thick with emotion. "Thank you, truly. May God bless you." Ilara simply nodded, a lump forming in her throat. She didn't wait for another word. She turned and hurried back across the street, her heart a mixture of profound peace and sudden, stark terror. She had done the right thing, she truly believed that. But what now? The bus was still waiting, the driver looking increasingly impatient. She had no money left for the fare. She had no money for Lily's medicine. She reboarded the bus, her eyes meeting Lily's worried gaze. "It's okay, sweet pea," she whispered, forcing a smile she didn't feel. "Mommy just needed to help someone." The bus driver, a burly man with a perpetually grumpy expression, cleared his throat. "Fare, ma'am," he grumbled, his hand outstretched. Ilara's heart sunk. This was it, the moment of truth. She swallowed hard, her voice barely a whisper. I'm so sorry. I don't have it. I gave my last money to someone who needed it more."
The driver's eyebrows shot up, a mixture of annoyance and disbelief on his face. "Lady, this isn't a charity. You need a fare to ride." A collective sigh rippled through the bus. Some passengers looked away, uncomfortable. Others stared, their expressions ranging from pity to thinly veiled irritation. Ilara felt a blush creep up her neck, her cheeks burning with shame and humiliation. She squeezed Lily's hand, feeling the small, innocent fingers tighten in hers. "I understand," Ilara said, her voice trembling. "I'll get off. I'm truly sorry for the inconvenience." She began to turn, preparing to lead Lily off the bus, her mind racing, desperately trying to formulate a plan. They would walk. It was a long walk to the clinic, especially for Lily, but what other choice did they have? Just as she was about to step off the bus, a voice, deep and resonant, cut through the tension. "Wait." Ilara turned, her eyes widening in surprise. It was the man from across the street. He had followed her. He was standing in the bus doorway, no longer looking defeated, but with an air of quiet authority that sent a shiver down Ilara's spine. His eyes, though still framed by the unkempt beard, held a sharp, intelligent glint she hadn't noticed before. He smiled, a slow, knowing smile that softened the lines of his weary face. "Don't worry, ma'am. I think it's time I returned the favor, and perhaps then some." He gestured to an empty seat near the back of the bus, his eyes twinkling with a warmth that was both comforting and unsettling. Ilara, still reeling from the shock, could only nod mutely. She led Lily to the seat, her mind a whirlwind of confusion and a nascent spark of hope. The man sat down across from them, his gaze fixed on Ilara, a profound gratitude radiating from him that contradicted his earlier guise. "His name is Arthur Sterling," he said, extending a clean, surprisingly well-manicured hand. "And you, my dear, have just taught me a lesson I won't soon forget." Ilara hesitantly took his hand, her fingers still numb with disbelief.
"Ilara," she managed to say, her voice barely above a whisper. "And this is Lily." Arthur nodded, his eyes lingering on Lily for a moment, a gentle warmth in their depths. Lily, a beautiful name for a beautiful child. He paused, then continued, his voice dropping to a more confidential tone. "You see, Ilara, I wasn't truly destitute. I am a very wealthy man, and I was in disguise." Ilara's jaw dropped. The words hung in the air, surreal and impossible. A millionaire! The man she had just given her last $20 to, sacrificing her daughter's medicine, was a millionaire? A mix of emotions, shock, embarrassment, a flicker of indignation washed over her. Arthur seemed to read her thoughts. "I know what you're thinking," he said, a hint of genuine regret in his voice. "You're wondering why I would put myself in such a position, why I would deceive you, and you have every right to feel that way. But please, allow me to explain." He leaned forward, his gaze earnest. "For years, I have lived a life of immense privilege. My wealth has shielded me from the harsh realities that most people face. It has also, I've come to realize, created a barrier between me and genuine human connection. People treat me differently when they know who I am. They see my money, not me. And I grew lonely, disillusioned. I started to wonder if true, selfless kindness still existed in the world, if people were capable of generosity without expecting something in return. So I decided to conduct an experiment, a personal quest. I shed my expensive suits, left my comfortable home, and walked the streets as one of the forgotten. I wanted to see if anyone, truly anyone, would offer help to a seemingly hopeless stranger without any expectation of reward. I wanted to find a flicker of pure, unadulterated compassion.
He paused, a profound emotion stirring in his eyes. "I encountered many people. Some ignored me, some offered a dismissive glance. A few threw me spare change, but always with a look that suggested I was more of a nuisance than a human being. And then I saw you, Ilara." His voice softened, filled with a raw sincerity that cut through Ilara's lingering shock. "I saw your struggles. I saw the quiet dignity with which you carried your burdens. I saw the love in your eyes for your daughter. And then I saw the impossible. I saw you, a woman who clearly had so little, a woman whose every dollar was precious, choose to give your last $20 to a complete stranger, a man you believed to be utterly destitute. You chose compassion over your own desperate needs. You chose kindness over survival." Arthur reached out, gently touching Ilara's hand. "That, Ilara, is something I have rarely witnessed in my life, despite all my wealth. It was an act of profound, incandescent generosity. It was the answer to my question, and it moved me more deeply than any business deal, any luxury, any superficial pleasure ever could." Ilara was speechless, tears welling in her eyes. The sheer weight of his words, the realization of what she had done, and the incredible irony of the situation overwhelmed her. She had given everything, and in doing so, she had unknowingly unlocked something far greater. "I followed you," Arthur continued, his voice gentle. "I saw you hesitate before getting on the bus, knowing you had no fare. My heart ached for you, and that's when I knew. I couldn't let your kindness go unrewarded, not by me, and certainly not by the universe." He then leaned back, a new expression on his face, one of quiet determination. "Ilara, I am the founder of Sterling Industries, a multinational conglomerate. I also run a philanthropic foundation dedicated to helping those in genuine need, those who demonstrate true character and resilience. What you did today, it wasn't just an act of kindness, it was a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. And I want to help you, not just with your bus fare or Lily's medicine, but with everything. Ilara's mind reeled. Sterling Industries. The name was synonymous with immense wealth, with innovation, with power. It was a name whispered in hushed tones in business circles, a beacon of success. And the man sitting across from her, looking disheveled only moments ago, was the architect of it. The world seemed to tilt on its axis, her carefully constructed reality shattering into a million pieces, only to be reassembled into something new, entirely unimaginable. I don't understand, Ilara stammered, her voice choked with emotion. What do you mean, everything? Arthur smiled, a genuine, warm smile that reached his eyes. I mean, Ilara, that no mother should ever have to choose between feeding her child and paying for medicine. No kind-hearted souls should suffer because they dared to be generous. I want to ensure that you and Lily never have to worry about such things again. I want to provide Lily with the best medical care possible. I want to give you a home, a stable income, and the opportunity to use your incredible compassion to help others. He paused, letting his words sink in. The bus continued its journey, oblivious to the life-altering conversation unfolding within its walls. Lily, sensing the shift in atmosphere, looked from her mother to Arthur, her innocent eyes reflecting the bewildered wonder on Ilara's face. I have a proposition for you, Ilara, Arthur continued. My foundation is always looking for people with genuine empathy, with a deep understanding of what it means to struggle, to connect with those we aim to help. I believe you possess those qualities in abundance. I want to offer you a position within my foundation, a role where you can use your experiences to truly make a difference. It would come with a comfortable salary, health benefits, and a stable, secure future for you and Lily. Ilara's breath caught in her throat. A stable future. The words resonated deep within her, echoing a dream she had long since buried under layers of pragmatism and despair. Health benefits, a comfortable salary, a chance to help others, to truly make a difference. It was everything she had ever longed for, everything she had fought for, everything she had dared to hope for, but never truly believed she would attain. Tears, hot and silent, streamed down her cheeks. They weren't tears of sadness, but of overwhelming relief, of gratitude so profound it threatened to consume her. She had given her last, and in return she was being offered a new life. It was a miracle, a divine intervention, a testament to the age-old truth that sometimes, when you give selflessly, the universe conspires to give back in ways you could never have imagined.
I don't know what to say, Ilara whispered, her voice thick with emotion. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sterling. I don't know how I can ever repay you. Arthur shook his head gently. You already have, Ilara. You repaid me the moment you gave me that $20. You reminded me that humanity, in its purest form, still exists, and that is a priceless gift. He offered her a warm, reassuring smile. Now, let's get Lily to her appointment, and then we can begin to talk about your new life. The rest of the bus ride passed in a blur for Ilara. She held Lily close, her mind still trying to process the enormity of the situation. The world had shifted, dramatically and irrevocably. The heavy blanket of anxiety that had enveloped her for so long had lifted, replaced by a lightness she hadn't felt in years. Hope, once a distant flickering star, now blazed brightly, illuminating a path forward she could never have envisioned. Arthur, true to his word, accompanied them to the clinic,
He spoke with the doctor, ensuring Lily received the best possible care, covering all the expenses without a moment's hesitation. He arranged for a specialist consultation, for comprehensive tests, for a level of medical attention Ilara could only have dreamed of. Lily, initially shy, soon warmed to Arthur's gentle demeanor, her small hand reaching out to grasp his finger as he spoke to her with kindness and genuine concern. Over the next few days, Ilara's life transformed at a dizzying pace. Arthur ensured she and Lily moved into a comfortable, warm apartment, a place with sunlight streaming through the windows, a fully stocked kitchen, and separate bedrooms. Lily's cough began to subside with the proper medication and a healthy environment, her energy returning, her laughter filling the once quiet spaces. Ilara began her new role at the Sterling Foundation. It was challenging, demanding work, but it was also incredibly fulfilling. She wasn't just an employee, she was a voice for the voiceless, an advocate for the vulnerable. Her own experiences with poverty and hardship gave her a unique perspective, an innate understanding that allowed her to connect with the people the foundation aimed to help on a deeper, more profound level. She helped vet applications, spoke with families, and implemented new outreach programs, always remembering the face of the man on the street corner, the desperation in his eyes, and the quiet dignity with which he carried his burdens. She started small, focusing on initiatives that provided immediate relief, emergency food supplies, warm clothing drives, and temporary shelter for families facing eviction. But as she gained confidence and experience, her vision expanded. She championed programs that offered vocational training, financial literacy workshops, and mentorship opportunities, aiming to provide not just a hand out, but a hand up, empowering individuals to break free from the cycle of poverty and build sustainable futures for themselves and their families. One of her first major projects was establishing a network of kindness ambassadors, individuals who, like herself, had experienced profound hardship but had emerged with an unwavering commitment to helping others. These ambassadors would go into communities, not just offering aid, but listening, understanding, and building trust. Ilara believed that true change began with genuine connection, with seeing the humanity in every person, regardless of their circumstances. Her relationship with Arthur Sterling deepened over time. He became not just her boss, but a mentor, a confidant, and a true friend. He valued her insights, respected her compassion, and encouraged her to pursue her ideas with passion and conviction. He often told her that she had shown him a different kind of wealth, a richness of spirit that far surpassed any material fortune. Through Ilara, Arthur rediscovered his own humanity, shedding the cynicism that had accumulated over years of navigating the cutthroat world of corporate finance. He saw the direct impact of his philanthropy, witnessed the lives changed, the hope rekindled, and found a renewed sense of purpose in his own life. Lily thrived in her new environment. Her health improved dramatically, her laughter echoing through their new home. She enrolled in a good school, made new friends, and began to blossom into a bright, confident young girl. She never forgot the man who had helped them on the bus, and often she would ask Ilara about him, her innocent questions reminding Ilara of the profound ripple effect of that single act of kindness. Years passed. Ilara, once a struggling mother fighting for survival, became a respected leader in the philanthropic world. Her story, a testament to the transformative power of compassion, inspired countless others. She often spoke at conferences, sharing her journey, reminding everyone that empathy was not a weakness, but a strength, a force capable of moving mountains and changing destinies.
Her programs, fueled by Arthur's generous funding and Ilara's unwavering dedication, touched thousands of lives. She established a scholarship fund for underprivileged children, ensuring that financial barriers would never again prevent a child from pursuing their dreams. She created community centers that offered not just resources, but a sense of belonging. a place where people felt seen, heard, and valued. One cold winter morning, years after their fateful encounter, Ilara found herself walking past the very bus stop where her life had irrevocably changed. The bus shelter was still there, a little more weathered but otherwise unchanged. She paused, a wave of memories washing over her. The biting cold, the gnawing anxiety, the desperate plea of the man across the street, and the impossible decision she had made. She smiled, a warmth spreading through her chest that had nothing to do with the winter sun. She thought of the woman she once was, consumed by fear and scarcity, and she thought of the woman she had become, empowered by compassion, driven by purpose, and forever grateful for the profound lesson she had learned. The true wealth lies not in what you possess, but in what you are willing to give. Arthur Sterling, now an older, gentler man, often visited Ilara at the foundation. He would sit in her office, a quiet observer of the bustling activity. His eyes filled with pride as he watched her lead meetings, inspire her team, and make decisions that genuinely impacted lives. He had found his own redemption, his own purpose through her unwavering spirit. He often reflected on that cold morning, the seemingly insignificant $20 bill, and the extraordinary chain of events it had set in motion. He had sought to test humanity, and in doing so, he had found its purest, most beautiful form. Ilara's journey was a powerful reminder that kindness, no matter how small or how costly, never truly goes unrewarded. It might not be an immediate monetary return or a grand gesture, but the act of giving, of choosing compassion over self-preservation, plants a seed that eventually blossoms into something far more profound and enduring than any material wealth. It changes not only the recipient, but also the giver, forging connections, building bridges, and illuminating the very best of what it means to be human. Her story became a legend within the city, a whispered tale of hope and miracles. People spoke of the angel of the bus stop, the woman who, with nothing but a compassionate heart, had turned her own life and countless others around. But Ilara never saw herself as an angel. She saw herself as a testament to the power of choice, to the courage it takes to be kind in a world that often demands otherwise, and to the extraordinary, unpredictable ways in which fate can intervene when you least expect it. She taught Lily that their blessings were not just for them, but for sharing. They regularly volunteered at soup kitchens, donated to local shelters, and supported initiatives that helped children in similar situations to what Lily had once faced. Lily, growing into a thoughtful and empathetic young woman, understood the profound legacy of her mother's actions and carried that torch of compassion forward into her own life. The world is full of untold stories, of silent struggles, and of moments where human kindness shines brightest against the darkest backdrops. Ilara's story is one such beacon, a testament to the fact that even in the most desperate circumstances, the spirit of generosity can prevail, sparking a chain reaction that transcends individual lives and transforms entire communities. It is a story of a poor woman, her last money, a millionaire in disguise, and the undeniable, awe-inspiring power of a truly selfless act. And it is a story that whispers a timeless truth, that what you give, you often receive in abundance, in ways far richer and more meaningful than you could ever imagine. If Ilara's incredible journey and the profound impact of her selfless act have touched your heart, and if you believe in the power of kindness to transform lives, please consider subscribing to our channel. Join our community as we continue to share stories of dramatic overcoming, unwavering hope, and the incredible resilience of the human spirit. Your support helps us bring more inspiring narratives like Ilara's to light, reminding us all that compassion truly has the power to change the world. Thank you for watching.